Okay, since I got into this in the other video, I might as well. I'm sweaty and hot anyway, and the sun's on me, and I've got this stuff set up. Use of force. Let's talk about use of force. What is use of force? Use of force is I'm exerting pressure through pain or fear on you. If I just draw my gun and go, give me your money, that's use of force. It's assault with a deadly weapon. I point a gun at you, but I've used something against you. If I hold a club and I threaten you, you have a reason to believe that I may hit you with that club, so therefore you were under threat, you were assaulted. Assault is an act. Assault and battery, some states are a little bit different, but I mean, I've worked with federal law and different state law, and they're all pretty much the same. An assault is kind of the ability, the threat and the ability to create some sort of physical impact on you. Okay? So if I pick up a rock and you're where this camera's at, and I go and hit you with it, most people believe that you could hit somebody this close with a rock and it would hurt, and if I hit you in the eye, it could take your eye out, it could knock you out, and I could do a lot of other things if I knocked you out. So that's a serious threat. Now, if I pick up a marshmallow and go, man, I'm gonna knock you out with a marshmallow, and you go, man, I shot him because I was in fear of my life. I know he could throw a rock, so he could throw a marshmallow. Well, of course that wouldn't work. You couldn't reasonably explain why a marshmallow made you in fear or how it could hurt you. That's like if somebody calls you and says, I got a baseball bat and I'd like to bash you upside the head. And you want to file a report saying, he threatened me with a baseball bat. Well, he had no what's called present ability to carry out the threat. He has to be able to carry out that threat. Another thing that comes into use of force is called heat of the battle or lying in wait. Heat of the battle or heat of the moment is a situation that created a lot of lag time or no time to think or plan. It was very reactionary. It was a fast-moving, rapidly evolving situation that got out of hand. It was a high risk. Somebody thought there was fear, and somehow somebody got hurt or killed. That's considered a heat of the battle or heat of the moment. You come home, your wife's in bed with another man, and you go, you know what, yeah, and you pull out a gun, or you punch him in the neck, and you break his throat, or you grab a knife right there on the table and you stab him, or you do something right then and there. It's still murder if you kill him, but it's considered heat of the moment or heat of the battle. It's not lying in wait. Lying in wait is considered what's called a special circumstance or a higher level of murder because you've planned. If me and my buddy go, dude, man, my wife was sleeping with this dude, and you know what? When she gets off work tonight, I want you to drive the car. I'm going to go over there, call her out. I'm going to give her some money. I'm going to bait her out in the street, and as soon as she comes out, I want you to run her over. Now we're planning. When he runs her over, now we're in a special circumstance of murder. We're into murder one. We're into a higher level of murder to where they can seek the death penalty because we went there with the intent. And then there's other areas to where it's negligence or what a reasonable person understands. I'm out here shooting an arrow at a tree, and it misses the tree, ricochets off a rock, and goes 45 degrees to the left and hits my neighbor playing in his yard. That would be iffy on negligence. However, if I put up a target with my neighbor behind it, and I'm shooting at a target knowing my neighbor's standing behind a target, and I miss the target and hit my neighbor, now that's going to be clear-cut negligence because a reasonable person, and that's kind of like common sense, we don't have a lot of that in this world nowadays, a reasonable person should have foreseen that if I miss someone, hit a person, I probably shouldn't shoot an arrow that way because if I hit a person, it could cause serious injury or bodily harm. So it goes into evaluation of a situation. When you use force as either a cop, military, whatever, and when they use force on you, they should be able to justify it. The problem with this is it's very easy to kind of manipulate the justifying, okay? I mean, it's an art. It's the art of bullshit. You know, they'd say, get out your magic pen and make this work. Things like that is when you get into something, it's kind of like, man, this is no good. You probably shouldn't have done that. I remember me and my buddy was chasing this one guy, and I forgot what we were chasing for, but it wasn't enough to shoot the guy. I mean, he's a little gangbanger, and we're chasing through the street. We're kind of wearing probably what we are now. And I can't remember, we were doing a search or something, I think, and we flushed him out of the bushes, and he started running. So we didn't know what we had. He could have been a mass murderer. He could have just shoplifted a candy bar and thought we were on him. I don't know, and we didn't know. So we start running, and of course, I don't know if he has a gun, so we're running, yelling, police, trying to get down, stop running, stop, blah, 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 so all the neighbors, in case we do shoot him, they can hopefully say, oh yeah, I heard the cops warning him. And then all of a sudden I hear, bang, from my partner. I go, dude, don't shoot him. What the? Dude, don't shoot him. And I see the guy fall. I go, oh, shit. I go, I can't believe. He tased him. But for some reason, when I was running, that taser went right off in my ear because he was right here. I thought he had a gun, and I don't know if you've ever seen a taser. It kind of looks like a gun, especially from the peripheral, and I couldn't really see it because my focus was on the bad guy in case he pulled a gun out. I wanted to be able to shoot him. So when he shot that gun, I thought he shot him. The guy fell. I started chewing his ass. Dude, we're screwed. Why did you shoot him? We don't even know. He's like, I didn't shoot him. I tased him. And I see the guy, ah! And I go, holy shit. So he hits me. You dumbass, think I was shooting him. And I go, dude, I didn't know. I just heard a pop. So we kind of went, again, I didn't think we had justification to shoot the guy. He may have. There's a theory that cops have a right to believe another cop. So if I walk up to a car and it's my girlfriend and she's with another guy and I'm pissed off, so I want to jack him up and shoot. I just want to shoot up the car because I'm a crazy guy. If I pull my gun and go, gun, look out, and I start shooting, any other cop there has a reason to believe that what I'm doing is correct. They can pull their gun. Can they shoot? That's iffy and constantly evaluating. It would depend on the circumstances. If they were jumping around the car, which they probably would be because I was shooting them, then he could say, I thought they were going for a weapon. I thought I saw something in their hand, so I returned fire too. But each individual cop is supposed to independently justify why they shoot their gun. There's a thing called sympathetic fire. If I look in a car and go, gun, and I go, bang, and then my buddy goes, shit, God, I want a few days off too, let me get a shot off, bang, and he shoots. Well, that's considered sympathetic fire. He can't justify why he shot. His justification is going to be, I yelled gun and shot. Technically, that ain't enough. So when you as a citizen tries to use a gun on somebody, you're going to have to think. And you should be thinking and reading, and you should know the law, you should know justifiable homicide. Look online for your state and the penal code for justifiable homicide. Use of force. Look up those terms and read the sections that relate to it. The penal code's kind of a little legal mumbo jumbo. If you got questions, you can write them on the thing, but you want to understand how the lawyers and DAs and prosecutors are going to use the book against you. And are you complying with the book? Because basically the law is your policy. Cops not only have the law, we have departmental policy, which normally mirrors the law. See how we're doing on time here. This is a pretty big topic and I probably can't cover it. Looks like my battery's about to die and I am at 7 minutes. So, you want to look up kind of what the law is and how you can justify force, but every time you go out with a gun, if you're carrying a gun as a citizen, even if you're in your house and you have a gun, you need to understand that if I use this, I'm going to have to justify it later. But you don't want that to stop you from defending your life. The old theory, rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. We have 12 jurors that can decide whether you're innocent or guilty. I would rather that than have 6 guys carrying my casket because I was like, I'm not real sure if I can use it, I won't use it, and then a bad guy shoots me. You know what? I'll err on the side, I'll shoot him, and then I'll figure it out later. And that's how most cops are a little bit more leery, but our evaluation skills are more refined because we do it every day. It's every stop, every contact, every house we go into. You can tell what we call a road dog or road cop. When I'm working the streets and when I'm contacting 20 guys a day, when I'm searching houses, my tactics, I'm much more on my game. But if I end up in a big investigation, I'm sitting in a desk for a year when I was working computer crimes and I'm sitting behind a desk. When I went out and did a search, I could tell I was rusty. I just wasn't smooth. I would miss a couple things. I'd see things that I'd be like, man, that was good. We shouldn't have done that. When you're clearing a house, when you enter a room, you yell, police search warrant, police gown, something. You identify every room you enter. And when you come out, you identify yourself coming out, clear coming out. So what it sounds like in a house where a bunch of cops, when we're clearing houses, it'd be like, please, search warrant, get out, get out, get down, clear, coming out. And you would hear that throughout the house. Because I don't want to walk out of a room and startle my partner who's got the hallway, and I didn't say coming out, and all of a sudden, he sees a freaking gun come out the door, and then I'm out there, and he's like, ah! And he accidentally flinches off a shot on me. So you always want to announce coming out of a building, and that it's clear and you're coming out. Now, if somebody runs out of a room and you don't hear clear coming out, then that tells the bad guys, we call that a clue, that's not normal. We see something odd here. Nobody yelled clear coming out, and here's some dude that I don't know running. That's a clue. Okay, there's a lot of clues out there when you're dealing with guns and law enforcement and all these things. So understanding how you can use force and when you use it and what I can do to justify it. Basically, the key, the simplest term, is fear. You're in fear of your safety or the safety of others. A little bit iffy on the safety of others. If it's your family and it's a kid and somebody's asleep, or an elder mom or dad, and they can't defend themselves, it's a lot easier for fear of yourself because they can't defend themselves. But fear of yourself is really what you got to do. And I've been on situations where a dude has capped somebody, was a legal shoot, and he was some macho dude, and I said, hey guy, when he came out, he scared you, right? And he goes, fuck no, he didn't scare me. That motherfucker, I knew he was there. I capped his ass. I was like, dude, you don't want to tell me that. He was like, what? I go, dude, you can't just be shooting people. I said, obviously you were scared, you wouldn't have your gun. Well, I didn't know exactly, and so I had to kind of talk him through, just like prosecutors talk their witnesses through, just like defense. The justice system's a big scam. If you were in it, you'd understand it. But it's a manipulation of a lot of facts, and it's kind of bending the facts and rules and words and a play on roles, and kind of like Bill Clinton, what is the definition of sex? And you know, that's all legal stuff is. So you could have the best shooting in the world, and there's going to be some fancy lawyer with a silver tongue that's going to be able to manipulate it and kind of change it. But by you giving that statement to the cop, and I'm going to have to do another video on this when I got a good battery. When you give that statement to a cop after you're in a shooting, critical on what you do and how you do it. And I'll do a separate video on that probably when I go in, get in the air conditioner, it's a little cool, I'll sit behind the table, I'll make a couple notes, and we'll go over how you give a statement if you're involved in a shooting. All right? So I don't even know what the hell I was talking about, but Buddy don't care. Buddy, you're a good boy, what are you doing? She's like, dude, you've been talking for like, all right, we'll end that there.